So one of the questions that you'll always be asked as a web developer is, how much does it cost? Website cost. So one of the goals of the program is to have you understand a credible answer to this question, because we could say anything, right? We could say $1 million. But the cost of building the website could be $1,000,001. And so even though we make lots of money, we in the end lose money. And so the question really is that how do we make sure that we make money? So a website, every proposal, so you're going to be writing a proposal, and every proposal needs a budget. Okay, and so this budget is going to be based on a pretty simple calculation. It is the number of hours times a rate per hour plus some sort of variance, which equals the total. So the math is pretty simple. Okay, it's not hard. So for example, if we said that we were going to build a website, it was going to take us 100 hours. And we said, you know what, I want to be paid $20 an hour. Right? My variance now, so in this case, the variance is how wrong am I? Okay, so I don't know. This is all a predictive thing, right? So I think it's going to take 100 hours. I know how much I'm going to be paid per hour, but how wrong am I? So, you know, this is based on you've had meetings with your clients, you understand who your team is, you know all these things, and you're going to say to yourself, how wrong am I? Am I 10% wrong? I think I'm 10% wrong. So this is not science. This is experience, right? So I have 100 hours, I have $20 an hour, that's $2,000, right? And then I think I'm 10% off, so I'm going to add $200, and that's going to give me a budget of $2,200. Easy, right? Well, in this case, yes, it is easy, although I think hopefully when you saw some of these things, you're a little disappointed. The $20 an hour part should have disappointed you. The $2,000 or the $2,200 probably should have disappointed you too. Because really, the one thing that you don't know based on this is the number of hours, right? Where does this number come from? Okay, everything else is sort of, this is based on experience. This, will change. You may, whoever you're working for, they'll set your wage. Okay, or if you're doing freelance stuff, it's something that we can talk about. But these things, will change over time. This is the hard part. So when we're looking at budgeting, okay, how do I figure out the number of hours? And that is the critical aspect of this. So let me just clean up a little bit. So, in looking at the budget, we have a number of hours. And so this is work. Okay, and so in the case of work, what do we need to know about this? So a lot of your discussions over the course of the semester is going to be, when we're redesigning this website, what exactly are we building? Well, one of the things that we're building is what's called a content management system, or CMS. Okay, and so this will be a mechanism whereby the client will be able to easily add new content to the website. Okay, that's our goal with this, is we're creating something that the client can easily use. So from the CMS, we're going to look at certain features. Okay, and features are discrete sort of bits of application programming that you would be doing in order to meet the needs of the client. And so this is this idea of features, is these things. What are the things that we need to build that we're going to say this website is done? Remember what I was saying about done before? This is where doneness comes in, right? So we're going to build these features out, and we're going to say, we're going to build so many features. Each feature is going to take so much time to do, right? And we're going to add up all those hours, and that will give us an idea of the number of hours. Okay, and so this list of features is what you're going to be concerned about in building out your your budget, right? And so you can say, well, what is a feature? Well, there's lots of things that we could build into a feature. A feature does something, for example, right? A feature has some sort of interactivity. So when you think about websites and you think about things where you interact with a website, one of the things that you could say is a feature, you could pay a bill, for example. All right. This is one sort of feature. You could answer a question. Okay. Another feature would be to add content. Okay, and so on. And a lot of our discussions throughout the semester are going to be around, okay, what is a feature? Okay, and what is a feature that is interesting to build? And what is a feature that the client needs in order to have a successful website and content management system? And this is something that we will go on and on about. Okay, big projects have lots of features. Small projects have not so many features. But if you're looking at something, let's say like pay a bill, right, we would then take a look at what are the steps to paying a bill. Okay, what are the forms that we would need to pay a bill? What is the database we would need to pay a bill? And then as we get into this thing, so we go, okay, I know I have so many steps, right? And how many hours is it going to take me to build one step? Okay, so let's say we've got pay a bill, and let's say if we really look at it, we have 10 steps, and we know each step is going to take us 2 hours to do, so that would be 20 hours. Right? We know the step is going to have so many forms. Let's say it's going to have 5 forms. Each form is 1 hour. So now we have 5 hours. And we know we're going to have a database. And so the database, we think, shouldn't take us too long, but let's say 2 hours just to be on the safe side. And so now we have another 2 hours. Are there other things that we could add to this? Certainly. We would have an interface stuff. We would have graphic design stuff. But hopefully you get the point at this point. So all of a sudden, I'm at 27 hours. Okay, and this is a pretty good estimate depending upon the complexity of the feature. Excuse me. Okay, so at this point, if let's say I've got 3 features, they're each 27 hours, all of a sudden we're looking at, a very accurate amount of time. And then we're going to look at it, well, how much do I want to get paid? Okay, that's always the thing. Do I want to get paid $20 an hour, $40 an hour, $60 an hour? That's the sort of thing that we will negotiate in class as to what is a good amount of pay per hour for a web developer. Okay, I have a rate per hour, but I'm not going to tell you that because then you would just charge my rate if you felt comfortable with that. Okay, so this is the components of how to come up with a budget for a web project. Like I said, we don't, this idea of doneness. Right? How do we know when we're done? Well, part of the ways that we know we're done is we determine the number of features that we need, figure the hours for them, and then we have a sense. This is a complete budget. The two last things you need to remember is HST. HST is a harmonized sales tax, which includes the GST, the federal government sales tax, and the PST, the provincial sales tax. Always remember to charge it. In Canada, it's 13%. Okay, and web developers are on the hook for HST. And the last thing to remember is everything has to add up. Check your addition, because if you really want to make sure that you don't get a project, make sure, have it not add up properly.